Mickey Arthur's excuse this time for Pakistan losing their game against Afghanistan? Is the Afghanistan win a bigger political statement than India beating Pakistan? Which Pakistani ex-cricketer's reaction do you want to see when they get rolled over by the South Africans? Did the ICC unconsciously, subconsciously, or consciously insult Australia in their match against the Netherlands? And finally, condolences to one of India and the world's most legendary cricketers, Mr. Bishan Singh Bedi. Good afternoon, everyone here in Australia, and good morning to those people joining in from India. This is Prasanna Kovalam, and welcome to another cracking episode of the Common Man podcast. Before I start, once again, acknowledgement to traditional owners of this land, and I pay respect to elders past, present, and emerging. We've got a cracking show here. Let's get straight into it. So, what was Mickey Arthur's excuse this time after the embarrassing loss to Afghanistan? What do you reckon, Manan?
Do you guys know that the DJ was playing Afghan Jalebi in the stadium, and the last rumor I heard was Mickey Arthur was chasing the DJ around Chepauk because he did not play Dil Dil Pakistan there as well.
Boss, I can trust a Delhi wala to crack this Afghan jalebi joke, but honestly, I don't think anybody in Chennai eats jalebi so much. But definitely, the Afghans have been having a lot of Mysore Paks in Chennai.
God.
Once again, we need to continue to stick to our day jobs.
Oh, well, look, I feel like the win actually has it's a huge statement from Afghanistan, and given the tensions between those two countries and the way India has supported Afghanistan's cricket, in fact, the BCCI, if there's one good thing that the BCCI has done, it is providing a fertile ground for Afghanistan cricket to flourish in India and giving them like the resources. So I feel like this is a huge political statement as far as Afghanistan is concerned when it comes to Pakistan. I do also wish to point out one more thing, PK. You called our podcast the Common Man podcast. It is the Common Fan podcast. So much for you being a common man or a common fan. Just like a fake Aussie, I guess you are also a fake fan. That's the allegation I'm going to level at you.
Look, as long as you didn't say I was a fake man, I'm happy with that.
Well, we don't know about that. It's a free country, Australia, so we don't know what your gender. I don't know where you are on the gender spectrum. We do not judge you for it.
आप पुरुष ही नहीं हैं, आप महापुरुष हैं.
But guys, really, Afghanistan was not just a sporting underdog, but also the political underdog in this game. And with all that Taliban angle, and in the last 1 month, apparently Pakistan has tried to dispatch 1.7 million refugees back to Afghanistan. And the man of the match, Zadran, made a statement that he's going to dedicate his man of the match award to those people who have to come back from Pakistan, the local Afghans. Rameez Raja taking his interview.
Yeah, you could. It's so funny. It's so funny when it's Rameez Raja and Pakistan losing a game. He had to just say fantastic, like he always says. And but it's really funny to see his reactions, or in general ex-Paki cricketers' reactions when it comes to Pakistan losing the games.
Yeah, on that topic, did you guys see the press release from the PCB? The latest press release as of last night. They basically threw Babar under the bus again. They were like, we've given full freedom for Babar and the coach to select the team. So it was like a backhanded request to fans to not ban the Pakistani team and asking ex-players to support the team. So the statement was, we request ex-players. I know Pakistan are down in the dumps with shit, fielding shit, everything shit. But please support, as ex-players, you should be backing the team right now in whatever remains of the World Cup. Because we gave full freedom to Babar to select his team. But then, so the unsaid part was that, the fault is Babar's and not ours. But please support kar lo, please.
And so there was this video of Wasim Akram on a TV show saying कि हमारे पाकिस्तानी players के मुंह इतने बड़े हो गए, वो निहारियां खा रहे, कढ़ाइयां खा रहे.
8 kilo.
And then Shoaib Akhtar said, फेंटा मारा है, इंडिया ने पाकिस्तान को फेंटा मारा है.
Oh, there was also the protein angle, guys. When they lost the previous game, they were like, oh, there's not enough protein in our diet. We're not having... That was like probably a reference to like beef not being available, which I don't know if beef's not available, but there's other sources of protein.
There's this really interesting story. I think back in the 90s, some Indian journalist asked Aaqib Javed that why do you think India is not able to produce so many fast bowlers like Pakistan does? And Javed said something like, tulsi ka patta khane se fast bowler nahi bante.
Well, I don't know, whatever it is, it's working in India's favor, I guess.
Whatever they're fielding, and their fielding is uncoordinated.
As always.
I don't know if a bit of protein is gonna solve fielding woes that are embedded in the DNA of Pakistan. I mean, I got nostalgic, man, like looking at the fielding in that game. I was like, wow, okay, the 90s are back.
Moving on. As much as we love talking shit about Pakistan, as everyone would know, my background picture is the game that was yesterday, England Sri Lanka, and my cousin Varun Carey, who was at the ground, he said of this picture, he took it and he said the sun is setting on England's hopes this World Cup. Vijay, what do you think?
Look, England. I've been seeing a lot of allegations on Twitter that this has been the most boring World Cup so far, and those allegations are from like reputed journalists or people who write for the likes of Wisden.
Englishmen, you mean?
Yeah, I did a bit of research, and turns out all these people were like Englishmen, and it kind of checks out because England are doing what England are famous for doing when they come to India, which is basically leaving, getting the fuck out of here. This is a repeat of 1947 and other years. They might as well just pack their bags now because winning those 4 games are not really going to. I mean, they are in a very RCB-esque situation, except that they're probably worse than RCB at this point. And we deep down, we still have a little bit of a soft corner for RCB because we've got Virat Kohli playing for it. So it's I don't know. It's like a wet dream for somebody who doesn't like England. So I'm actually quite enjoying the downfall, especially given they won the last World Cup under dubious circumstances. So everybody keeps hyping this whole England are defending champions and look what they've done to their reputation. I honestly think they're not that big a deal, and they honestly should really not be thinking about defending the World Cup or whatever. It was never theirs to begin with, in my opinion.
That's a good point, Vijay. I reckon all the English fans that are listening to this podcast and have continued to listen after Vijay's rant, you might want to reach out to the RCB Fans Association because they will tell you how exactly you need to figure out net run rates and how you need to support another team in case you want to make sure that England makes it to the semis.
And if you need a travel agent, get in touch with me.
Sure, definitely. That too. All right, gonna talk about my mob. Did you see the Twitter post from the International Cricket Council calling the Australia versus Netherlands game as a thrilling game? I mean, they are taking the piss out of Australia even further than I could have ever imagined. Look, I support them for it. I mean, that is the ultimate taking the piss. Look, Australia did really good. Stat padding, I believe, is the term that they use. Because, you can win all you want against the Netherlands, but right now, I'd still be a bit wary of Australia going up against, even the North Shore Cricket 11. Really, they are not a semi-finalist team. All right, just because they've won 2 games on the trot, they are not going to be. And once they come up to greater opponents, it's not going to work out for them. But
PK, I don't know if it's your 0% alcohol beer that you've been drinking on the show from the time this started, but I completely disagree with this. But I will let Manan and Ritvik go before I do, so that I can grab my filter coffee and address this argument in full vigor.
So clearly, of course, they've beaten a couple of, weaker teams still, but the way they've done that is the Australia of old. They've, at least the last game with Netherlands, they typically bash them left, right, and center, and talk about Maxwell finally performing for Australia and not RCB. So 40 ball 100, he was just a beast out there, and with you call it stat padding, it's net run rate boost is what I'd say. They're already in the top 4 at least right now, and if they win 1 or 2 more games out of the rest, they are in contention, much better than England, like we said. The important game obviously will be the New Zealand game, and we'll know where they stand. If they win it, then it'll be in your face, PK, and your Australian colleagues and friends would be at you, trolling you. So I can't wait to see that too.
So let's look at some precedents. Go back to the 2007 World Cup. We had a bad start, and then we came back and we whacked Bermuda like anything. 250 odd runs, right? We bet them by 260 runs or something. And Australia has beaten Netherlands by 300 runs. So I'm hoping that their fortunes are very similar to what our fortunes were back in 2007. But that said, a margin of more than 300 runs in ODI, that's huge. It's only the 3rd time this has happened. And I clearly remember it was as late as 96 when India got its first 300 plus score in an ODI. That was on the back of a century by Sachin and one by Sidhu, who came at one down. Now, can somebody tell me who was Sachin's opening partner in that game? Somebody who got out very early. 96.
Prabhakar?
No, not Prabhakar.
Was it Shiv Sundar Das?
No.
Mr. Saurav Ganguly?
No. That was a few years before Ganguly made his.
Talk about 1996, right?
96. Just after the
96.
96 World Cup.
Sachin's opening partner.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
India was experimenting with a new opening batsman who did not succeed much, but he now happens to be the batting coach of the Indian team, Vikram Rathod.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, there you go. Learn something new every day.
That's right. Look, personally, I'm not even going to take an emotional stance on this, but I've just been looking at the kind of Australian players that have been peaking off late. David Warner's been in super huge form. He's been scoring daddy hundreds and daddy 50s, if that's a thing. Glenn Maxwell, what do we talk about that 40-ball century? Yeah, talk about start padding all you want, but South Africa lost against the same Netherlands team. So, getting 100 of 40 is difficult even against a Nepal. So I think Maxwell's hit a purple patch. Zampa has been among the wickets in a few games now. So I don't know, man. I would never write Australia off. I just feel like their players are all coming into the mold. Like Smith got a 50 after ages. Like I saw some stat where he hasn't scored a 50 in a while, and he got a 70 odd in the last game. Labuschagne is looking good, and he's going to be replaced if rumors are to be believed by Travis Head, who is again. At one point it looked like Travis Head was the holy grail of the Australian team, upon whose arrival their fortunes would change for the better. And right now it sort of looks like that because the whole team's shaping up really well. So I'm going to be quite, I'm going to be a bit hesitant in ruling Australia out. In fact, I feel like they might actually make the third spot or the fourth spot in the table. And if they make the fourth spot, that means that India is going to be playing them at Wankhede if we're continuing our current form. And that's a game that I'm sure will be pretty close.
Speaking of spinners, it's been a terrible, terrible week. Obviously, hearing about the late, great Bishan Singh Bedi. All four of us, through whatever interactions we've had with cricket, have always been in awe of him. So let me just pass it on to Manan. You're a Delhi boy, Manan. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think, of course, pretty sad news. And, he was one person that, who could just speak against the authority, speak his mind anytime and every time he would, be in front of the camera. I remember in an incident from the early 90s, he was the manager of the team that went to New Zealand and we lost really badly. And he basically came back and said that if it were up to him, he'll throw all of the cricketers in the Indian Ocean. And he then of course was unceremoniously ticked off from the team. So but great man, condolences to him and his family.
Well, he was definitely a spinner with the temperament of a fast bowler.
Yeah.
And pretty much the leader of the famous spin quartet that India had in the 60s and 70s. In fact, there's a very famous story that in the 98 Sachin versus Vaughan series, after Vaughan was being whacked by Sachin all around the park, Vaughan went to Bishan Singh Bedi, got a few tips, and probably even ended up taking Sachin's wicket in the subsequent game. So sad news, our condolences and respect to Bishan Singh Bedi and his family.
Yeah, I'd like to add to that as well. Look, I think one of the key things that Bishan Singh Bedi and I guess spinners of that era talked about was flight, turn, guile. Some of those terms seem alien to some of the cricket viewers now, right? But you could see some of the stock footage of Bishu and Prasanna, my namesake, and a lot of those people, and you could just wonder like how brilliant they were. So sad story, and Om Shanti to his soul, and condolences to his family.
Yeah, I also heard the great Wani took some lessons from Bishan Singh Bedi. Condolences to Bishan Singh Bedi. Unlike Shane Warne, he didn't block me on Twitter, so I guess that's a takeaway. Prasanna, I don't think we want to see any kind of stock footage of yours or footage in stockings.
Jesus Christ. All right, let's move on. Firstly, I'm going to move on to previews. Australia versus New Zealand. Despite all of you people somehow thinking that Australia is now going to lift the World Cup for the fifth or sixth time, I reckon New Zealand has got this. All right, Australia can stat pad against all they want. Smith might have hit the century. Maxi might be ill, but I reckon New Zealand has got this. I reckon New Zealand will win that game. Ritvik, what do you reckon? Pakistan, South Africa.
Guess where the venue is for Pakistan versus South Africa? Good old Chennai again. And for a change, Chennai has decided not to be kind to Pakistan after the historic 194 that Saeed Anwar got and the standing ovation in the 99 test. So with South Africa in terrific form, despite that one-off loss against Netherlands, I will be backing South Africa in the Chennai game.
Yeah, and despite the fact that the DJ will not play either Dil Dil Pakistan or Waka Waka, it's time for Africa. I think still South Africa will win.
Correct.
Yeah, I personally think it's South Africa's game to lose, and even if Chepauk can tend to have a tricky pitch that might offer some assistance for the spinners, I feel like South Africa still has the better spin bowling right now than Pakistan in Keshav Maharaj and what's that other guy's name? Yeah, him. So yeah.
To be fair, South Africa can bat, ball, and field better than Pakistan, really. So yeah, I mean it's a one-sided game. The last game I wanted to talk about, guys. Sorry to cut you off, Vijay. Last game, India versus England. Let's go.
I just hope England continues their current form and India continues their current form.
Yeah, in fact, in fact, Moeen Ali has been talking about the problems that Butler as a captain has been facing.
Yeah.
Right? Like he brought out a very serious issue that the wicket keeper is unable to converse with the bowlers or the other fielders because of the way of the position in which he stands, and we have never really had wicket keepers become good captains, right? So it's going to be
I mean, which keeper captain has done well in tests, one days, 2020s, local league? Jeez,
I have no idea, man. Like I have never heard of a wicketkeeper captain doing well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Look, in my limited experience as the captain of a D1 side, or as we like to call it, a D grade one-day side, because it makes a nice fun. The best position for a captain to be in, if you want to talk to the bowler, is probably mid-on, mid-off, and wicketkeeper. Because anywhere else, you're just shouting from one end of the ground, and you're not able to access the other fielders. So I don't know what Moeen's been smoking. I really hope CSK is taking note of his statements, and he'll probably retract before it affects his future prospects in our team.
Talking about the game, I think England will be wounded. They are. I hope they think that they're playing a test match and they'll probably be able to give some fight to India, who are still trying to figure out the best 11 given that Hardik is out. So it'll be very interesting to see what is the 11 that goes out on the field. And of course, in any case, we're going to win. It's about which 11 guys beat them.
Fair enough, Manan. Look, yeah, exactly. As you said, we're gonna win. I'm actually surprised that the England coaching staff haven't come out and said, we haven't been winning because the DJ hasn't been playing Chariots of Fire or Sweet Jerusalem or any kind of those music. So at least that's good from our.
I think they're just finding the games boring, so they're not playing that well. That seems to be the excuse this time around.
It's gonna be shitty for them because they're gonna have to stick back after some bilaterals after Australia leaves.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's been a great episode, everyone. Thank you all for joining us, and looking forward to all the games ahead. And see you soon on our next podcast.
Bye-bye.
Bye.